afraid to fall asleep in class. And this story is exactly why. This person starts by saying that Mr. Vance was a super chill teacher. What's up, class? Let's learn some history. He spent most of class leaning against the wall, talking about history like it was a bonfire story. Kids loved him. But he also kept a wooden paddle hanging on the wall right next to the whiteboard. No, it wasn't for hitting students. Why'd he have the paddle, you ask? Well, it was for situations like this. One day, this kid named Tyler, he had pulled an all-nighter. He had tons of homework to finish, and no matter how hard he tried to stay awake, he couldn't. The teacher clocked it. He then stopped teaching, went to the paddle, and walked by this kid's desk. And the kids in Tyler's row knew the drill. They all got everything off their desks and they kind of scooted back. The teacher then took that paddle and as hard as he possibly could, he smacked it on the desk right next to Tyler. And it was so loud. And Tyler didn't just startle awake. He hopped about 5 feet in the air. The teacher then went right back to teaching. Hey, stay awake. All right, class. And boy, is that the worst. Now, my teachers didn't have a paddle, but they would just take their hand and I would never sleep. So this kid Gregory's in 8th grade, right? And his mom started noticing something weird last year. He'd get home from school starving. Like after school, he would eat a full meal and then another one every single day. At first, she's like, that's normal, he's a growing boy. But over time, something keeps bugging her. So she finally sits him down, and he admits it. See, Peter, his best friend, hasn't been bringing lunch to school at all. Every day at lunch, Peter just sits there. No lunchbox, no money, nothing. And Gregory, he was giving Peter half his food every single day, just so his best friend could eat something for lunch. The mom's like, oh no, not on my watch. So she starts packing him extra food, like low-key doubling every lunch. At first, she's being subtle about it, but then she just starts making a whole second lunch every day, one for Peter. She never talked to Peter's parents about this, she didn't even tell anybody, she just did it. And for a whole entire year, that's how it went. Peter and Gregory both having a lunch every day. But then, it was a new school year. Money's tight. Gregory's mom's got bills, groceries are expensive, and she decides she's done. She sits down Gregory and goes, from now on I'm packing you one lunch, okay? For you. Don't share it. And at school, he listens. He eats his lunch, Peter has nothing. Then one day, the mom gets a phone call. It's Peter's mom. She's mad. She goes, I cannot believe you cut my son off without saying a frickin' word to me. And Greg's mom just hits her with this. Excuse me, when did it become my job to feed your kid? If I would have known you weren't going to send him a lunch anymore, I would have figured something out. Greg's mom claps back with this. Why'd I have to start doing this in the first place? Click. Phone call ends. Now Gregory's mom's walking around all angry at Peter's mom, and she's like, he's definitely not getting a lunch now. But here's the truth in this situation. Peter never asked for anything. He didn't start the drama. He didn't make the calls or send any texts. He just showed up to school hungry. And his friend tried to help him with that. Two adults turned this into some sort of power struggle lunch drama, and the only one who actually paid the price was the kid with nothing on his tray. And that's kind of messed up. This mom spent 5 years telling everybody in town that her son was a monster. He cut me off. He hasn't talked to me in years. She would go on Facebook and post these long, crying rants about how family is everything and how she didn't understand why her own flesh and blood would just stop speaking to her. I'm a heartbroken saint of a mother. She was really making herself the victim. I just don't get it. I gave him life, and now he won't even answer a text. I've done nothing but love him. Well, her son eventually caught wind of all of this, and he decided he was done being the villain in this story. He finally posted a comment on one of his mom's crazy posts. He didn't write much. It was a simple question. Hey mom, glad you're doing well. Quick question, where's my Honda? People commented. The truth finally came out. A few years back, her son let her borrow his car because her transmission was out and she needed to get around for a few days. But the day he dropped it off, all right mom, keys are on the ignition. I'm gonna get an Uber back home. You're all set. Thank you, son. Well, that day she didn't drive it to work. She drove it straight to a car dealership. And it wasn't a formal car dealership. It was some random guy, and she sold it to him. Yeah, I'll take it. Here you go. She then used that money to put towards a new car for herself. Why on earth would you do this? I needed something reliable. You're young, you can walk. I can't believe you. But she got mad at him. She said that, oh, quit complaining. You should be happy for me. But obviously, he wasn't. And that's why he never talked to her. Good reason. There was a kid named Ian who was the shortest kid in elementary school. The bullies loved making fun of him. Hey, short stack, what's the weather like down there? Bruh. One night he came home and he sat at the kitchen table and he talked to his dad. Dad, they won't leave me alone. His dad didn't tell him to ignore it. His dad didn't call to school. Ian, come with me. I want to show you something. They go downstairs and Ian realizes that this corner of the basement wasn't used for storage. There was a punching bag there, a full boxing setup, gloves, wraps, a speed bag, a heavy bag, like a mini gym in this corner of their basement. Whoa. Son, you're gonna train. You're not gonna train to hurt them. You train so you don't feel so helpless. So Ian starts practicing every day, day after day, and he's getting pretty good. Then, one day in the cafeteria, Ian's carrying his lunch. He walks past the bully's table and he tries to ignore them. Well, one of the bullies steps up and smacks the tray into his face. Food everywhere, milk dripping down his shirt. Everybody's laughing at him. And then Ian snaps. He puts his tray down calmly, walks straight up to that bully, pops him right in the face. Then another one. Clean, quick punches. The bully's stunned. He falls down. He's like, all right, stop. No, right, stop. Ian walks away. He's taken to the office and he's suspended for a whole week. But nobody messed with him ever again. He never had to use his boxing skills ever again. But he knows he has them, and if he has to use them, he will respect. This would happen across the school every single day. Different classrooms, different floors, but every day at exactly 12:17 p.m. Can I use the bathroom? 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 Nothing suspicious. Not really a pattern that these teachers could put together very easily because, like I said, they were each in a different classroom. But here's what nobody knew. At the far end of the school, in the quiet bathroom nobody ever uses, these kids would go and run full-blown underground Beyblade battles. Every day after they released from the classroom, they would sprint to this bathroom. And when they would get there, they would let it frickin' rip. They had a few of those classic plastic Beyblade arenas, and they were just going to town. They would put money on it as well. Come on, I got 20 bucks on this. You're totally gonna lose, bro. Milk! Doesn't that sound frickin' awesome? They had a blast. I would love this. Well, more and more people were kind of told about this, and more students began joining. And eventually, it became this kind of thing. They were caught and shut down forever. But nobody forgot about that. The random bathroom Beyblade battles at 12:17 p.m. every day. That's awesome. At this school during lunch, milk cartons were free, and they were all just sitting on this table. So one day, these 3 fifth graders, they stockpiled 20 milk cartons, shoving them in their backpacks, in their pockets, up their sleeve, and they take them out to recess. They walk over to the brick wall on the side of the building, and they just start chucking the milk cartons against the wall. Yeah, milk! Milk! The milk cartons are exploding, milk is spraying everywhere, a crowd gathers. Kids are cheering, they're watching this like it's a frickin' sporting event. Well, that's when somebody says, yo, the principal, he's coming! Oh crap. The 3 milk chuckers put their hoods up and they just disappear into the crowd. The vice gets there. All right, who did this? And it was instant snitching, names and details. The principal immediately starts searching for these kids. And there were close calls, but these guys were really sneaky. Hiding against benches, behind trees, in the slide. Somehow, they never get caught, and the rest of the day is a frickin' mission. At lunch, the principal and the vice principal are posted at the table that these kids usually sit at. Oh crap, he's right there. Let's eat in the band room. Milk! That entire day they managed to escape the wrath of the principal, and when school was over, they went home. But the craziest part is, some random kid cleaned up the milk wall by himself, just because he wanted to. When the principal went out and asked him why he was doing this, why are you doing this? Because it's the right thing to do. That's legendary. There's this one Shell gas station in town, and one afternoon, a middle schooler decides that he is gonna run it. So he's standing in this gas station after school one day. He grabs one of those squeegees and he just starts wiping down cars. Hey, how's it going? Just cleaning up your windshield for you. Thank you, young man. The person would then pay for gas. No, get back in your car. I'll pump it for you and I'll put it away when it's done, all right? You are so sweet. Haha. Here's a couple quarters for you. And he just does that over and over and over again. He's getting quarters, sometimes dollar bills. And the best part, the actual clerk inside the gas station is this super old guy, so he doesn't really know what's going on at all. So day after day, this kid's working there like it's a full service gas station, cleaning cars, pumping gas, checking the air in the tires. One lady even goes inside and tells the real clerk, the new guy you hired is fantastic. We all love him. Oh. The clerk squints out the window and sees this kid wiping down a big SUV. Well, as long as he's not breaking anything, I'm fine with it. And for like a month straight, this kid ran his own after-school business at the Shell gas station and nobody stopped him. Now that is a real hustle. This kid ran a genius business. It happened in high school, so this kid's older brother had just graduated and he was working full-time at a pizza place across town. And every day there were always leftover pizzas. Messed up orders that nobody picked up, stuff like that. So one day the brother texts him around lunchtime and says, "Yo, we got an extra pepperoni and veggie. Want me to bring it to you, man, for lunch?" And he's like, heck yeah. So his brother comes and gives him these pizzas at lunchtime, and by the next period, he had sold 6 slices for $3 a piece. And this made him feel good. They loved the pizza, and he made some money. Now, this is not an everyday thing. It was only when there was extras, but that's what made it special. You never knew when it was gonna happen. Some days it would hit during 4th period. Some days there wasn't pizza at all. One time he sold 2 large sausage pizzas to the entire chess team. Another time he walked into drama rehearsal with a Hawaiian pizza and left with $19. It was this really cool little system that this kid and his brother had. And by spring, he's basically making like minimum wage for the amount of work he's putting in. And he never spent a dime on anything, so everything he made was pure profit. The awesome part is he ran this business with no ingredients, no oven, no store, just leftovers, a cool brother, and a little hustle. You gotta respect that. You see, it started in 5th grade. Every morning he would flip open this little blue notebook. His notebook would have 2 columns. On the left, it would say prediction. On the right, it would say results. What was he doing, you ask? He was predicting people's sneezes. And to him, it wasn't a joke, but he would track sneezes every day. And the freaky part was he got weirdly accurate. It would be math class. He would sit down, he would open the notebook. On the left, under prediction, he would put Ben. 10 minutes later, Ben would sneeze. Under result, he would put Ben. It would be English class. He would sit down, under predictions, he would put Kylie. 15 minutes into class, Kylie would sneeze, but there were some days where he's like, I don't think anybody's gonna sneeze today. So under prediction, he would put nobody. You see what I'm saying with this? Nobody knew what the point was until the last day of school. Somebody asked him, "Yo bro, can I see your sneeze notebook?" "You know what, man? Yeah, here." And there it was, pages and pages and pages of sneeze predictions. And on the last page, the results. Total sneezes predicted correctly, 114. Incorrect predictions, 9. Accuracy rate, 92.7%. He gave the notebook back to the kid, the bell rang, and then it was summer break. I don't know why he did that, but it does kind of sound like a fun thing to do in class. Who's to say? So this kid spent his summer at yard sales. Every Saturday, he'd be out in the neighborhood scanning tables looking for sneakers at these garage sales. Didn't matter if they were brand new or perfect condition, any sneaker with a logo worked. Nike, Adidas, doesn't matter, and he was finding them. Some were $5 a pair, some were $8 a pair, some were free. Just take them, man. I don't want them anymore. Fantastic. He would take them home, scrub them with a toothbrush, swap them with brand new laces. He would then throw them up on Facebook Marketplace and eBay. And people were buying these shoes. $40, $80, sometimes even over $100. He said it was crazy how many rare shoes people were selling for like $5. His brother would come home every day from working at Subway, and this kid would just be sitting there counting his cash. His parents finally asked, "Kevin, where's all this money coming from, man?" And he just opened up his closet. Look at this. Reselling sneakers. By the end of summer, he had made more than his brother made the entire summer at Subway, all from reselling $5 sneakers. You gotta respect the hustle. Yo, this is karma. So when they were younger, these 2 best friends had this habit. They would drive around at night smashing mailboxes for fun. One drove, the other would swing the bat outside the window. Nice. One night, they spot this loose mailbox that caught their eye, and instead of hitting it, the friend got out and yanked it completely out of the ground and threw it in the middle of the street. Yo, just pulled it out. And it was a big mailbox with this long metal pole, and now it's just laying in the middle of the street. They drive off, they're laughing, they're blasting music, then they decide to make their way back home. And they're speeding, they're going really fast, when all of a sudden the driver's like, "Wait, isn't this the same road that, bam, the car hits something?" It's the mailbox that they put in the middle of the street. The big mailbox. They get out to inspect the damage. The mailbox had put a major dent right in the front of the car, and half of it was under, and it kind of tore some stuff up underneath as well. The car was screwed. Bro, you're screwed. Me? You're the one that pulled it out. You told me to. They had no choice. This kid had to call his dad, and his dad had to come and they had to explain everything to him. And yeah, they were in major trouble. This game was banned from the school. It was a game called Get Down, Mr. President, and it worked like this. Anytime, anywhere, somebody could yell, "Get down, Mr. President," and every kid in the area would have to put their finger to their ear, like this. Kind of like how Secret Service agents do. But here's the thing, the last person to put their finger to their ear would get tackled by everybody in the area. Gosh darn it, get him. It would be a full-on dog pile. In the hallways, courtyards, band practice one time. It got so bad that one day a kid was tackled into the water fountain and the water fountain fell off the wall. Water was spraying everywhere. One teacher joined in one time and tackled the student. He was then fired, obviously. The school eventually banned it. They were calling it a coordinated ambush activity. They put it in the announcements and everything, but that just made it worse. Because people still shouted, "Get down, Mr. President." And the kids went, "Should I play or get in trouble?" And most kids still played. That's crazy. At this school during lunch, milk cartons were free, and they were all just sitting on this table. So one day, these 3 fifth graders, they stockpiled 20 milk cartons, shoving them in their backpacks, in their pockets, up their sleeve, and they take them out to recess. They walk over to the brick wall on the side of the building, and they just start chucking the milk cartons against the wall. Yeah, milk! Milk! The milk cartons are exploding, milk is spraying everywhere, a crowd gathers. Kids are cheering, they're watching this like it's a frickin' sporting event. Well, that's when somebody says, "Yo, the principal, he's coming!" Oh crap. The 3 milk chuckers put their hoods up and they just disappear into the crowd. The vice gets there. All right, who did this? And it was instant snitching, names and details. The principal immediately starts searching for these kids. And there were close calls, but these guys were really sneaky, hiding against benches, behind trees, in the slide. Somehow, they never get caught, and the rest of the day is a frickin' mission. At lunch, the principal and the vice principal are posted at the table that these kids usually sit at. Oh crap, he's right there. Let's eat in the band room. Milk! That entire day they managed to escape the wrath of the principal. And when school was over, they went home. But the craziest part is, some random kid cleaned up the milk wall by himself, just because he wanted to. When the principal went out and asked him why he was doing this, "Why are you doing this?" "Because it's the right thing to do." That's legendary. It's 7th grade and this kid Lucas brings a bunch of Costco gum to school. Tons of packs. Every single flavor. And he never made a big deal about it, but he would pull them out here and there so that people could see. And naturally, they would ask for a piece of gum. And when they did, 50 cents. "Oh, I don't have any money right now." "Oh, that's fine. Pay me later." And that was his thing. You know, at first, people were like, he's not gonna ask for that money later, you know? It's just a piece of gum. But that's where they were completely wrong. Because after he would give someone a piece of gum and say, "Pay me later," he would pull out a tiny notebook and write down the debt in that notebook. Everybody had a tab. Their name, their flavor, and how much they owed. But the thing is, he wanted this debt to grow. He would walk up to them. "Hey, so you still owe me from last week, but I just got this crazy new watermelon flavor. You want a piece? I'll just put it on your tab." And he just kept stacking debt on top of debt on top of debt. Until finally he decided it was time to collect. He goes to the 2 biggest kids in class. "Carl? Mordecai? Yeah. I'll give you 10%. Here's the list. Get me my money." And they would go around school with the list. "Hey, you got Lucas's money? I'm here to collect." And these kids were big and intimidating, and people did pay him back. Lucas made like $175 before this whole thing was shut down. You gotta respect the hustle, I guess. This kid started grading the teacher. It was a normal 7th grade class, and the teacher was exhausting. She talked too fast, she never explained anything, and her lessons were always boring. So before colonization, the Native Americans were showing signs of societal systems, and you see, it was really interesting because the colonization never happened. Well, this one kid, one day, decided to leave her a note. And it wasn't rude, it was a sticky note that he put on her desk. It said, "You talk really fast, it's hard to keep up. And you skipped the lab yesterday. We were actually excited for that." He didn't sign it, and the next day, class feels different. She slows down, she starts with a story about her night. "Guys, you won't believe it. Last night, I was feeding my cat, and then later, I thought the cat food was tuna, and I ate some." And at the end of class, she says this. "Also, class, if you ever have any thoughts about how I teach or suggestions, feel free to leave a note right here. You don't gotta sign it or anything. It's actually very helpful." And now notes are showing up every day. Please stop calling on the same 3 people. That video was actually kinda helpful. Can we do more labs or just something hands-on? She reads every single one, she adjusts, and class starts to feel human. Weeks later, a kid leaves this note. "This is my favorite class now. Thank you." And she taped that note onto the whiteboard. Now that's a lovely story. No. He was in the back of the classroom, you know, during a boring lecture, scrolling through his crush's Instagram page. I mean, pretty risky thing to do with a crush in the class, but that's what he was doing. Well, he's years deep into her Instagram page. As he's scrolling, his thumb grazes the heart. No. He panics and he accidentally goes back. So now he's got to scroll all the way down to find this picture that he accidentally liked from 5 years ago. His brain short circuits. The school's Wi-Fi is so bad it's kind of lagging. Older posts aren't loading. No. He looks over at his crush and he sees that her notification went off and she's reaching for her phone. No. Meanwhile, during all this, his phone was at 1%, and it died. His face goes completely white. The guy next to him asks him, "Hey bro, you okay?" No, he wasn't okay. She looks at her phone. So he just gets up quickly and walks out of the room. Gotta go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. As he walks out, he looks behind and she's looking at him. So now his crush saw that he liked a photo from years ago during class, and now he's running out of the room. He probably looks insane. But his crush saw it, so he goes to the bathroom and he sits in the stall until the bell rings. He said he was so embarrassed he didn't go to school the next day, and when he did return, yeah, he got bullied, so. This class was visiting colleges. They were all on a bus to visit one of these local colleges. Well, this junior was sitting by his girlfriend. Now, these two had been dating forever. Everyone knew them as that couple. But halfway through the bus ride, and Kevin, we gotta talk. What? She breaks up with him on the bus. "I can't do this anymore. You're an embarrassment to me. I have bigger things I want to do with my life. And you're gonna hold me back. I'm done. We are done." Oof. And he's just taking it. He finally stops talking and he's just sitting there staring out the window. 5 minutes go by. Then he quietly stands up, lowers the window gap as far as it'll go, shimmies his way out, and jumps out of the bus while it's moving. The bus is going 35 miles per hour on the highway. Everyone's panicking. "Stop the bus! Stop the bus!" "Oh my god, he jumped!" "What happened?" "Well, I broke up with him. He said he didn't want to be on this trip with me, and he jumped out the window. So, not my fault." Now, this kid was fine. When he jumped out, he landed on this big pile of grass on the side of the highway. Just some scrapes and bruises. But when he landed, he just stood up and just ran into the woods. Full sprint. Backpack on and everything. They had to call his parents. His parents came to the side of the road where the bus was at. Staff was sent into the woods to go find him, and they found him, sitting by a creek on a log, crying softly to himself. "Hey buddy, you okay? I loved her so much. Leave me here. Leave me here." So when this guy was in high school, the school's bulldog statue, big metal full-on mascot, just vanished. Gone overnight. The next day it was just an empty base and rumors were spreading. The rival school took it. It's gotta be a senior prank. One teacher said it was melted for scrap. What a dumb rumor. Well, fast forward 15 years, this one guy was having a beer with his older brother. His older brother was a very quiet, low-profile guy in high school. When all of a sudden, his brother said, "Hey, remember that bulldog statue in high school?" "Yeah, I hit it with my truck. It was me." "You what?" Apparently, it was late at night. He was doing donuts in the school parking lot. And boom. Oh god. The bulldog goes flying off the platform. And instead of owning up to this, he panics. He grabs the statue and tosses it in his trunk like it's a frickin' body. He drives it out to the woods. There's this little bridge by their old house. He parks by it, takes the bulldog out of the trunk, walks to the bridge, and looks around. "I'm sorry, buddy." And dumps it. Bulldog sinks to the bottom of the river. Gone forever. Honestly, that is legendary behavior. Why is the principal sprinting down the hall? He's here! Because the mayor's here. So the mayor was coming to visit this school. Everybody's acting that the Queen of England's gonna show up. And the week before, there was an actual assembly. The principal gets on the stage and he goes, "Please do not pull the fire alarm during the mayor's visit unless there's an actual fire, okay?" Everyone just kind of looks around and is like, why would he say that? Was somebody planning to? Thing is, there hasn't been a single fire drill in months, let alone somebody actually pulling it. No one had even thought about it. Of course, until now. Day of the visit, school is spotless. The staff is in full PR mode, and the mayor's shaking hands. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm the mayor. Thanks for having me, I'm the mayor. And then it goes off. The mayor's mid-photo like, "Oh, what? Teachers are sprinting, the principal's yelling, no, 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 no. And the best part's nobody's panicking. The students aren't panicking at all. They calmly line up and walk out. They're like, of course this would happen today, of course. Eventually they found the kid who did this. All he says is, they made such a big deal about it, I had to do it. I just had to do it. And that's how the mayor's visit became a school-wide evacuation. So one of my subscribers sent the story in, and it's genius how simple it is. This kid started a snack business at his school. He posted the menu in his class group chat. People would place orders in advance, and he had a drop spot and everything. First day, chaos. Everyone showed up, they cleared him out, business was booming. But here's the thing, at his school, snacks weren't allowed, like at all. So when students started eating in their classes, the teachers kind of snapped. Where's all this food coming from? And well, one kid panicked and said, so there's this guy. Bingo snitched, the whole thing traced back to him. Kids who were eating snacks in class were getting detentions, and he was shut down completely. Before it got shut down, he made $30 profit on day one. $30 profit on the first day. That's insane. And he tells me he's not done. He said he's gonna take the risk and relaunch. And see, this is the type of mindset that we need, because the reality of it, schools teach us to be good workers, to stay quietly at a job for the rest of our lives and do what the man says. We don't gotta do that. This kid has entrepreneurship. He's got hustle, baby. He's a subscriber with a vision, and you know what I always say, you gotta respect the hustle. You wrote her up for being sad. She was off task. She was human. You should try it sometime. So this girl's having a rough week. Family stuff, friend drama, just life. She sits down in third period, math class. Doesn't say a word, just starts doing her warm-up problems, but tears are falling from her eyes, quiet and soft. The teacher then walks over to her. Hi, do you need to go to the nurse? Or are you gonna disrupt my class all period? The girl doesn't respond. She just wipes her face and keeps writing. All right, disruption it is. She writes her up, a full-blown referral. Disruption to learning environment. Ignoring teacher. She then sent her out into the hallway. Not the counselor, not the nurse, to the hallway, and told her to stay there. Later, she shows her mom the slip. Oh my God, sweetie, this is not okay. They punished you for having feelings? The next morning, the mom shows up to the front office. She then walks to the classroom. Class has already started. The teacher looks up. Oh, so crying is disruptive now? You ever heard of empathy, or did they leave that out of your training? This isn't the time or the place. No, I think it is. You humiliated my daughter for feeling something, and you made it public when you wrote her up in front of the entire class. The students are dead silent. Some of them on the edge of their seat like they're watching a frickin' courtroom drama. Print a new referral, this time with your name on it. Come on, sweetie, let's go. And she takes her daughter home for the rest of the day. Please tell me y'all don't have teachers like this, because that's messed up. I ate half my meatloaf, but she said it wasn't enough. So one day this kid goes through the lunch line. He gets his lunch tray, meatloaf, peas, chocolate milk, all that stuff, which meatloaf for lunch is crazy, but anyway. He eats a little bit of it, obviously it's not that great, so he throws it in the garbage. But a lunch monitor sees this happen and walks over, like she caught him shoplifting. You're wasting school resources. If you're not gonna eat, don't take food. I wasn't hungry. Well, next time you're eating alone. She writes him up on the spot, and the next day he has lunch detention. He walks in expecting to be alone, but there's another kid already sitting there. Very similar story. He didn't finish his corn and got written up by the same lunch monitor. Both of them go home that day and tell their parents. And the parents, they do not take this lightly. Calls get made, emails are sent. Apparently, this lunch monitor has been doing this all year. Punishing kids for not cleaning their trays, for not eating every last bite. By the end of the week, she is pulled from the lunchroom. Next week, there's another lady taking her spot. New lunch monitor and a totally better vibe. From then on, if you weren't hungry, you could just throw your food out. What a concept. That lady's insane.
কিরে মাম্মা কই রে তুই কতক্ষণ ধরে দাঁড়ায় থাকমু কনসার্ট তো শুরু হয়ে যাবে তাইলে তো বন্ধু রিত লেগে গেল আরে বেটা এত লাফাইস না যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা যা পাল্লাটা ভালো দেখা যাক কি করে শালা বোবা হ্যাঁ কথা বলতে পারো না জি বেন সাহেব আসসালামু আলাইকুম বেন সাহেব
এক্সকিউজ মি
তাই তুই কেন ফোন যায় না তোমার নাম্বারটা তাড়াতাড়ি করে বলো ঘন্টার পর তো গার্লফ্রেন্ডের লাগে ওয়েট করতে পারো আর বন্ধুর লাগে 2 মিনিট ওয়েট করতে পারবা না ও এখন আমার দোস্ত তাইলে তো বন্ধু রিত লেগে গেল আরে বেটা এত লাফাইস না যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা বাপ দে কালকে যাত্রা দেখা হবে ঠিক আছে মামা ঠিক মতো যা শালা পারলাম না রে আরে তোর তো হাওয়াটাই হয়ে গেল তুলি তুই তো সুন্দর নাম আরে শুন আমি জিসান আই লাভ ইউ
আপনাদের তো চিনলাম না আমার বড় বোনের যে দেবরগুলো আছেন তো সবাইকেই চিনি, বাট আপনাদেরকে তো চিনি না।
তুমি পড়ো, ঘুমাও তাহলে। গুড নাইট আর বাই।
সহজে কোনো কিছু পাওয়ার মজা নাই, কিন্তু আমগো দোস্ত জিসান কি কম।
ও
ভাবি লাগে বেটা, লজ্জা লাগে না? কি ওর কথা বাদ দে, পারো তুই যা।
জামুই তো।
তুই চুপ থাক।
কিন্তু আমি তো আপনাকে চিনি না।
চিনো না যে আজকে চিনলা, আরো চিনবা, আস্তে আস্তে চিনবা। আর শুনো,
হ্যালো,
হেই হোয়াটস আপ প্র্যাঙ্ক ম্যান।
কে?
একটু হলেই তো তোমার ফোন হাওয়া হয়ে যেত।
তুই তোর ফোন আর কোনোদিন পাবি না।
কেন?
তোর বাবা তো তোর ফোনটাকে একদম আসার দিয়ে ভেঙে শেষ, এমনকি পানিতে চুবাইছে।
আউট অফ কিউরিয়াসিটি হয়তো দেখা করব, বাট আই এম নট দ্যাট মাচ ইজি, অলওয়েজ রিমেম্বার।
আজকে যদি তারা না থাকতো আজকে তো দিতাম একদম। এই খালি স্কার্টেন গার্ডেন।
এই যে আপু, এসব গার্ডেন ফার্ডেন যায় না, আমার ভাই ব্রাদাররা আছে, আপনার একদম কামড়ায় দিবে। না 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 ব্রো, এই যে আপনার ফোন প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল ব্রো, চিল চিল চিল। রাকিব ভাই, আপনি এসআই রাকিব ভাই না? আপনার কথা আমি অনেক শুনছি। আপনি কিন্তু মানে বুঝের লোক। টেজে তোলেন।
এই হোসেন আলী ক্যামেরা আগেই কইছিলাম আমার বস ফেমাস। হ্যাঁ 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 ভাই একটু যদি ধরতে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ শিওর।
তো কিভাবে যে কনফার্ম হয়?
এটা তো এদিকে না, 3 নাম্বার গেট ওইদিকে, শঙ্কর গলি বোধহয় গেটের বাইরে। আপনি ভুল আসছেন, জান।
ভুল আসছে, কিন্তু আমি কি চিনতে পারবো?
ও আচ্ছা, আপনি দ্যাট বোরখা গার্ল।
চিনতে পেরেছো তাহলে না?
আই লাইক গুড গার্লস। ফলো করতে ফলো কর, যা। ইফতে কই যায় দেখবি, যা। সারা জীবনে প্রথম কাউরে প্র্যাঙ্ক করতে যায়, নিজেই আজকে প্র্যাঙ্ক হয়ে গেল।
তুমি আমাকে বলেছো যে তুমি তোমার কোনো বয়ফ্রেন্ড নাই।
না না, বয়ফ্রেন্ড না, আমি ওর বয়ফ্রেন্ড, আমি ওর ফিয়ান্সে। ওর সাথে আমার বিয়ে নেক্সট।
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা,
আমার জন্য?
এটা তোমার জন্য, একটা নতুন ফোন দিলাম।
এই জন্য তাহলে তোমরা এতক্ষণ নাটক করছো?
নাটক না, তোমার ফোনটা পুরনো হয়ে গেছে।
কেন
নতুন ফোন।
আমরা প্র্যাঙ্ক করতে পারি না?
একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট কথা ছিল তোমার সাথে। এমন করলে কেমন হয় যদি এই এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট জার্নিতে আমি জয়েন করি তোমার সাথে?
কি করবি? সেই না চেহারা, না হলো কি চেহারা, কথা তো বেশি চেহারা ওজন বেশি।
আপনি না শুই না না দেখা সব জানা ফেলছেন বাবা।
রক্ত লাগবে রে। রক্ত? আসবো না মানে?
হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম।
আসবো না। ঠিক আছে, দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা। যাও।
কিরে তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন?
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল? এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে, তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস, ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগা থাকে।
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল।
গলবে, পাখির মন গলবে, এমন মন্ত্র দেব।
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয়, আপনি শিখাই না তোরা?
যে কোচিং এর সামনে যে গুন্ডাটা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে, আমার তো মনে হয় পড়াশোনা সব বন্ধ করে দিবে।
আমি তোর প্রেমের গল্প সাকসেসফুল না। আমার কথা বিশ্বাস কর। আমি শুধু একটু প্রেম ভালোবাসা চাই, আমি শুধু ওরেই চাই বাবা, আমি শুধু ওরে পালি হবে।
ওকে, আমি আপনাকে ভালোবাসি। আচ্ছা আপনার কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন।
আমার তো অনেক ভয় লাগতেছে দোস্ত, এই যে আস্তে আস্তে সব মানুষ জানবে, তারপর আমার ফ্যামিলিকেও জানাই দিবে, আর আমার
এন্ড বেস্ট অফ লাক ফর ডক্টরশিপ। আমি দোয়া করি তুমি যেন একজন ভালো ডক্টর হও।